Are you looking for some tips and tricks to nail that TOEFL IBT test in one sitting? Then this is the right channel, this is the right place to be, because today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my major tricks that I used in passing my TOEFL test in one sitting, as well as mistakes that you can as well avoid. So if you'd like to know, please keep watching. Hi there, my name is Nkechi and welcome to this Step Up, where I provide useful tips for international students from my own experience as an international student living abroad, as well as educational tips and fussy hair. Today, I'm going to be sharing some major tips on how to pass your TOEFL test in one sitting. So if you're about to write a TOEFL exam or you just wrote one and then you stumbled on this video, you're in the right place. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new on this channel, and like, comment, all those good stuff. It will go a long way to support my channel. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the speaking and the writing part. I already made a video about the reading and the listening part. If you haven't seen that video, you should check that out. I'll leave that somewhere in the card and the description below so that you can have that information. I also shared some resources that will be useful as well. But for today, we're going to be focusing on the speaking and the writing part. So without further ado, let's go straight into the video. So for the speaking part, it's actually very tricky because I thought I knew how to speak, but what you get in the TOEFL speaking test, it's not the regular topics that you speak about in real life, if you get what I mean. So typically my methodology for you, or my methodology that I'll advise in this video, would be to memorize the template. Again, I shared some resources in my last video. You should check that video out. I'm also going to share some resources, link in the description below, so that you can have that. But typically just memorize the structure of the speaking. One key thing you need to know is that for the speaking, you have like 15 seconds to think and then 60 seconds to talk. So you don't really have so much time in terms of like thinking about what you want to say. So it's very, very important that you memorize the structure, the template on how it's going to be. So like I said in my previous video, practice, practice, practice. That way it will help you in knowing the structure and getting familiar with the structure in your head. And there was also something that I found out about from research, that the TOEFL examiners, they have like a guideline or a template in which they use in scoring the candidates. And then this template, sometimes they score you low points if you speak slowly or if you mumble. And I'm like, what is speaking slowly? How do you define speaking slowly, or how do you define mumbling? Like, it's insane. But most importantly, I think that what is really key here is that you keep practicing and then you get better at it. Okay? So another thing in the speaking test is, so they give you a very random topic to talk about. So for example, why is blue not your favorite color? Like, because it's not my favorite color, hello. But these are like this is just an example anyways, but these are like some topics that you get to talk about, random topics that you don't talk about in real life. So you have to like find a way to articulate your thought in 15 seconds and then speak in 60 seconds. So one thing you can actually do regarding that is just maybe get your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your relative, whoever, talk to them, ask them to give you like unfamiliar topics that you can actually talk about, and then try to see how you can articulate your thought and talk about a topic in 60 seconds. If you keep doing this, trust me, you'll know that test. Another tip I'd like to share with you today in the speaking test would be using of bridge words. That is very important. What do I mean by bridge words? So bridge words actually show connections and relationships between two ideas, pretty much. That's what it does. So for example, they can give you or talk about a topic on these are just things I'm trying to like formulate from my head, but just to show you a clear picture. So why do you want to move to Denmark, for example? So you'd be like, the reason why I want to move to Denmark is because it's a climate friendly country. Also, now using also in this instance is a bridge word, just to connect your first idea with your second idea. So saying something like, Also because it easily integrates international students into the country. There you go. So this is like a typical example of what I mean when I say it's important that you use bridge word. It goes a long way in structuring your speaking. Another tip I would like to share is practice, practice, practice. Like I said, get your relative, get your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever, ask them to give you a random topic and then try to see how you can talk about it in 60 seconds. That way you get yourself familiar with just articulating your thought and trying to come up with random stuff. And sometimes, or typically, they ask you not to lie, but truth be told, if you don't know anything, it's better for you to just come up with an imaginary story or a relative story about how you moved to Denmark or something. You just have to come up with something.
That lovely.
It's very key, and that way you're able to like talk rather than just keeping mute. So typically what I do is, because like I said, you don't get regular topics, so just try to see how you can articulate your thoughts and come up with something in 60 seconds. That's why I strongly advise that you practice with people, ask them to give you random topics to talk about in 60 seconds, and that way you get better at it, and that way you also know the structure to follow when you're giving your speaking test. So another thing you typically come across is combining a text from a given topic which a speaker is going to talk about. So what do I mean by this? Sounds complicated, I know, just I'm going to break it down. So what do I mean? So for example, they can give you like top universities in Europe. So they can give context about top universities in Europe, and then the speaker will now say Oxford, give an example of Oxford University as one of the top universities in Europe. And then you are supposed to actually combine the context about top universities in Europe and Oxford University. So for example, you can say something like, the structure of your answer should be something like, the text talks about the top universities in Europe, and Oxford University is one of the top universities in Europe because it has the characteristics of top universities, which is the graduates from these universities earn the highest paid salaries. This is just an example, guys. And also because it's supported by, I don't know, top NGOs or top entrepreneurs. So for this reason, then you now summarize. If you still have time left, then you can now say, for these reasons, Oxford University is regarded as one of the top universities in Europe. Simple. So for the speaking test as well, another typical question you come across is, you listen to a problem and then you try to come up with a solution. So typically you'd have like maybe two students talking about a particular problem, or one student talking about a problem, one student talking about a problem and the other student giving advice on the problem. So you can hear something like a student complaining to his friend about his roommate playing loud music at night, and then his friend giving two reasons how he can actually solve the problem. And then you are expected to pick one of the reasons that this friend has given to this guy and then provide your justification why you think that this is a better solution. So for example, a student complained to his friend about playing loud music by his roommate at night, and then his friend can give suggestions like, oh, you can actually report to the residency manager, or you can use earplugs at night so that you're not disturbed by the music. So these are like the two solutions that his friend would provide. And then you answering the question, you're to give one of the reasons and then say why you think that this is a better solution. So for example, you can choose maybe the second reason. I'll always advise that you choose the second reason, because that way it doesn't allow you to start thinking about justifying the first reason and then the second reason. You don't even have time for that. So I always advise that you go with the last solution that you heard, because I feel like from research, it's typically always a better solution, provided you know how to justify it. So just go with the last thing that you heard, or the last solution that you heard, and try to come up with a justification. So for example, in this example that I gave, I would say that the student should actually report to the residency manager because the earplugs would not solve the loud music, and the residency manager always have better solutions to the problem because he knows people that live in the residency hall and stuff like that. This is just an example, guys, just to paint the picture, but you know what I'm talking about. And typically the last part of the speaking test, it's always a representation of combining a general topic with what a professor says. So what do I mean? So for example, they can give you an example of, I don't know, organs in a human body. It's usually scientific. From the research that I've made, it's usually scientific, the last speaking part of the test. So they can give you a topic on biology, human organs, and then they tell you stories about the human organ, and then you hear a professor speaking about two examples of the human organs, maybe the kidney and then the liver, and just giving characteristics of why this part qualifies as a human organ. And then in your answer, you should have a structure like the text. First, you have to talk about or give a summary about the text. So you summarize saying the text talks about the human organs in the body, and the professor gave two particular examples of the human organs, namely the kidney and the liver. This is because the kidney has blah 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 characteristics which qualifies it as a human organ, and the liver also has blah 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 which qualifies it as a human organ. Whatever, but this is how the structure should be or look like. So guys, this is the end of the speaking part. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, this is the right time to do so. Please hit that subscribe button below and subscribe to my channel. It'll go a long way to support me. Okay, but most importantly, please, the key things that you should remember is try to refresh before the exam. Have your notes. What I did, I had my notes even I was reading into the exam pretty much. I don't know if it works for some people, but it worked for me. So that way I had everything like very fresh in my head. Refresh, practice. It will go a long way in helping you hit your score high. Okay, so moving on to the writing part. So the writing part is majorly just 2 essays. And for the 2 essays, once you know the structure, it's very easy. Like, you don't have to do so much. So the first essay typically is always like giving you a particular topic and then a professor's opinion on that topic, typically refuting the motion of the topic itself. So what do I mean? Let me break this down. So for example, you can have a topic on social media where the topic is talking about the goodness of social media and or whatnot, and then you have another text beneath talking about, or where a professor talks about the negative impacts of social media, saying, oh, social media facts or recent research has shown that social media causes health problems, causes cybercrime, you know, and just giving reasons to refute the context of the text or the essay. Your job here would be to compare the thoughts of the text and the thoughts of the professor in a very neutral manner based on the information that you've been given in the essay. That's all that you need to do. So for example, the essay would say something like social media has caused health problems, negative impacts, cyberbullying and whatnot. So your job would be to say the article claims that social media has caused cyberbullying, and then you mention all the causes or negative impacts of social media, and then you go for that to say, on the contrary, the professor suggested that recent research has shown that social media can bring positive impacts to the society, such as creating a community, getting information fast, connecting to your career path, and just mentioning everything that the professor has said in the essay. So you have to make sure that you understand the essay and then you compare the 2 ideas. That's all you need to do in essay number 1. Also, you'll be given word count. I'll suggest that you try to exceed the word count maybe by 50 or by 100 and try to see how you are able to articulate properly. That way it demonstrates that you know what you're talking about. For my own self, I didn't know this, so this is a mistake that I made. I was trying to play safe, and I mean, for my writing, I had one of the lowest score. I think I had like 23/30, which is not so good, but yeah, I want you guys to nail it. That's why I'm actually giving you all these tips. So make sure that you're able to go a little above the word count. That way you're able to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. And then the second essay, I really love this because it gives you the freedom to express your thoughts. So the second essay, typically you're given a topic that you need to provide an argument for or against. So for example, they can give you a topic of why technology should not be taught in school. And then you need to make like 3 arguments why you think that technology should not be taught in school and give your justifications clearly. So my tip here would be to actually have like 3 paragraphs, and then for the 3 paragraphs you give your reasons and then you state your justification. So make sure that the paragraphs are similar in terms of the number of words for coherence purposes. So that's like very key when you're writing your essay number 2. Another tip I'd like to share with you is avoid making mistakes when spelling. Avoid big English, like what I call big English, like big grammars or vocabularies. Use simple English if you can. Use simple English. Simplicity is key. I mean, you might lose score for, using simple English, but it's better that you use simple English than using big words that you don't know about or big words that you're not sure about the spelling. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. So I advise that you use simple vocabularies that you know that is comprehensible and that you can write on or write about. Also, avoid using contractions, very key. What do I mean by contractions? So don't, shouldn't, can't. This is a formal essay writing. It's an academic paper, so it's very important that you use the full words. So cannot, do not, should not. Very key. Alright guys, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you found these tips and tricks useful. Please, if you do not forget to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Help me get to 100 subscribers. It will go a long way to support me. And if you'd like to get more useful content about my experiences as an international student living abroad, my lifestyle, and how you can actually live in a very cheap way and affordable way, that's what we're all about.
Oh my God! Wow!
Please do not forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment. I'd like to hear from you. Tell me your experience, your TOEFL experience. Was it good? Are you about to write an exam, your TOEFL? Whatever it is, leave a comment for me in the comment section below, and I'll be glad to read them all. But thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Thank you so much for staying until the end of this video. It means a lot to me. I like sharing my experiences with you all in this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Hi there. Welcome to the Step Up. My name is Nkechi, and I'll give us some tips and tricks to actually pass that TOEFL test. Then this is